Hi, it's Tuesday the 24th September and we have a dry day. Good chance of it remaining dry all day. Jane's back to painting the mizzen mast. Don't look at those black clouds. We hope they're not coming this way. We've got the primer to put 2 more coats on the top of the mizzen mast where Keith did the nice repair for us. We've got 2 more coats of primer on the main mast spreaders that got missed first time around. We've got the mizzen mast spreaders which were primed, but it's been more than 6 months, so they need a top up, and the same with the mizzen boom. Once these have all got 2 coats of primer on today, which the temperature says it's 16.5 degrees, that's about a 5-hour overcoating time. Once those are done today, tomorrow, I think tomorrow's going to be wet, Jane?
No, tomorrow should be dry.
Oh, tomorrow we should be able to do an undercoat. Is it what, 2 coats of undercoat or 1?
1 if you're doing the top coat straight after.
Okay, so
2 if you have to sand
one
it.
coat of undercoat hopefully tomorrow. Then the next day, Thursday, is going to be wet, and we're hoping on Friday we can put the top coat on all these bits, and then that should be the end of mast painting, shouldn't it?
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Right, let's leave Jane to do that while she's doing her masterful high quality painting. Unfortunately it's a 2-part one, so it needs to be mixed. While she's doing that, I'm going to do some of the other jobs on the mizzen mast. I want to see if I can get the side plates riveted on. There's 1, 2 there, 1, 2 there, and then there's also to rivet on the actual bottom of the mast. All of those are going to need a bit of prep work to get the curves right. The plates are a bit bent, and I think the foot is going to need a lot of cleaning. I'll go and find the bits now. We were a bit over hopeful about the lack of rain. Shower has just passed, but we've put this tarpaulin up so the boss can do her painting in the dry. Just doing the top of the mast and trying to avoid getting it in her hair, I think. Meanwhile, I'm going to fit the, I guess, mast foot, isn't it? This is as per original. We tried to clean off the corrosion. It's going in there. I'm going to use the WD-40 white lithium grease again to try to make sure we don't get any corrosion. And I've got monal rivets. It gets held on by 3. I'm not sure the rivets do much but hold it in place while you're lifting the mast up, because once those are rammed in there, and it's a pretty tight fit, it's going to need knocking in with the hammer. It's not going anywhere. How it's not going to slide off that way, is it, without the rivets? And gravity means it's not going to fall off that way once it's in place. Not quite sure what they're achieving, but never mind. They were there, 3 rivets, so I'm going to put them back on, and the plastic tube for the wires will then be able to rest on that. All right, let's get myself into place. Well, that's gone in easier than I expected. Having the grease on it makes it slide better. Getting rid of the corrosion makes it slide better. You can see the white lithium grease now, so hopefully that's good. And that hole is lined up for the rivet, and that one. Let's get some riveting done. I'm going to get my rivet gun. I've only done about 10 rivets before in my life, so I'm not the world's expert on it. We've got from Rivet Wise these modal rivets. It says 6.4mm, 14.5mm long, CSKNI copper. There's a riveting gun. Tried to, when we bought this, get one that was going to be reasonably powerful rather than those tiny little pincer ones. Thanks Sailing Brothers for showing us how difficult those are to use. We did something different, and That rivet's going in there. See you in a moment. Okay, just to show you the rivet in place. It was a very tight fit, so I had to take the end off the rivet gun, put it on there so I could just tap it in. I guess that might mean I should be using a smaller rivet, but those are the only manual ones I've got at the moment. Right, let's put that gun on it. Wonder if it's held rigidly enough for me to just do it one-handed. How do people do this, filming and doing things? Right, that's on. Push down. Oh, and it just lifted it out. That was why you don't do it one-handed, I guess. Right, I'm going to need two hands. See you in a minute. Well, by hook or crook, that's in. What I'd done by mistake, I think, is I screwed that end in too far, which meant it didn't actually grip the head of the pulley outy bit of the rivet. Anyway, that's in. Let's see if I can do the other two. Jane's moving on with the painting nicely, and meanwhile my next job is to try and fit these plates for stopping the tang bolts tearing their way down the mast. I'm going to do this top one first. I've got the inner lining that stops it compressing the mast roughly in position. It's got the pipe for the wires above it, and that pipe's got a bit of neoprene zip tied to it, so this goes underneath the neoprene, and when I put the bolt through I can lever it up so that it's now trapping that nice and firmly at the top front edge of the mast, and you can see it through there. Once we've got all these in place, these were rivet holes as an attempt to hold the pipe in place. It didn't work. So once the pipe's held up by these tangs, I think we'll try dripping some epoxy into there in the hope that will grip the pipe as well. These tangs, oops, these plates, they're not curved perfectly, just because when they were levered off, they'd stuck on to the original mast. Anyway, I've tried to clean up the stainless using this paste compound. This is stage 1 cut, stage 2 finish, and stage 3 protect. It does not do, but they didn't have anything that did that in the chantlery. At least it's got it mostly cleaned and some of the scratches out of it. Hopefully that will mean it doesn't corrode quite so quickly. By putting it onto the bolt first, I'll make sure that when I rivet it, obviously the bolt still fits through. And I think I've just got to coat this with the WD-40 stuff and then rivet it on. It seems a bit too simple. Boat jobs are not supposed to be simple. There's a problem.
Don't speak too soon.
Okay, Jane is busy doing the boom painting now and complaining about her knee, so we'll ignore her. And I'm working on the plates that go on the mast to stop the tangs pulling down the mast. Just before I do that, I'm going to cover these two plates with the lithium grease again to hopefully avoid any galvanic, although we do have paint there now, so it isn't stainless onto aluminium directly. Still, a bit of protection does no harm, as the bishop said to the actress. First tang support plate on. I have to say it's a beauty. Very pleased with how that went. Now I'm just going to do the other side of this one. I'll just have to move the mast a little bit to get access to there from where we've tied it to the boat cradle. That's our paranoia, to not have the mast get knocked down by other people like it did before. Anyway, Jane's finished all her first primer coat of the day. I think everything has now had 3 coats, and we're got 1 more coat of primer to do later today. But I hope that means Jane's about to say she's going to go make some coffee. Alrighty, we've moved the mast along a bit, so now I can hopefully do the tang supports for this lower attachment point. Got them cleaned up and got the bolt and the compression sleeve. Hopefully this goes as well as the other one. You can just see, I can already see I'm going to have a little bit more hassle getting the bolt past the foam, which is sitting there. So just got to sort that out. And meanwhile, just as we were getting on with this, met a new boatyard friend, Ian. Fascinating chat with him, who worked with the pilot who was aboard when HMS Conway went to ground in Swellies and broke up. And just to make sure, it was very clear, it wasn't the pilot's fault. The Navy didn't put enough tugs. Didn't believe quite how difficult it was going to be to get a ship of the line through the Swellies. So back in the day when HMS Conway sank, we now know a bit more of the story. Okay, let me get on with my riveting and stop gassing. Okay, this feels like quite a momentous point. We've got all those plates riveted back on, bolts go through, and now it's time to fit DIY acetal mast tangs. That's the first one on the bolt. There's videos, I'll put a link on the screen as to how we made these, but it's 70mm, I think, acetal rod that we shaped on the router table and used the platform drill. The hole is at right angles to that plane, which means that when it sits on the mast, the angle is correct for the shrouds. It's a double one on the top for the running back stay and the cap shroud. And just because of these plates, and just to try to get it to seat as well as possible, we've got this rubber cut out so that goes around that plate, and this one with a hole in that goes as extra padding, just in case, well, where our rounding here doesn't quite match there's a little bit of a compressible part, so when we do at the bolt we get the load more evenly spread. That's the theory, but these are not cut quite to shape at the moment, so once it's all tight we can just run a Stanley knife around there. Oh, it's just starting to rain. Fortunately, Jane's paint is hard enough that this is going to be okay. Hope that's not going to last long. Hello, it's Thursday, 26th September. Jane's been busy trying to get the painting done for the last remaining mast-related items for a few days, but the weather's been terrible.
I've had to move inside because
so we moved inside yesterday.
Yeah,
and
humidity's been terrible, but
humidity and rain, basically. We've got 5 items here. The mizzen boom.
Yeah.
The mizzen spreaders.
That's those.
And the mainmast spreaders.
That's those.
They're really not showing up against the background.
Oh, right.
Oh, there we go. There you are. You can see that one there.
Got a couple of bits of FR4 that we're going to mount an aerial.
These 2 FR4 pieces go on the top of the mizzen mast to space out the mounting for the AIS antenna.
And hopefully I've just about managed to get the top of the mast that was bare metal painted as well.
I've got a cover over it, and we
It's been
quickly
a bit
went
of a
out.
judge out quickly while it's dry and get it done and cover it up. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it will be okay. Yesterday's job went fine, so
That means all these components and the top of the mizzen mast have now had 4 coats of primer,
2 coats,
2 coats of undercoat, and we're hoping that tomorrow we can get all the coats of top coat done in a day.
We're hoping, yes. You're supposed to do it quite quickly, one after the other, for the first 3 coats, and then that is enough in theory.
Right. These ones have an overcoating time of 16 hours, which is why we've got to wait till tomorrow. But the top coat is a much quicker one.
Well, once you've done 3, you have to stop for 24 hours to let the gas come out, apparently. But
okay, 3 will have to do.
3 will do, yeah.
This, of course, the boom is going to be the most visible. We can always easily repaint that because we can always take the boom off. Spreaders and the top of the mast a bit more tricky,
Not so much.
but they are also further away, so people won't be able to see them as much, to see that their paintwork isn't brilliant.
No, I think there is an element of the underlying structure being not brilliant, because the top of the mast was so lovely and smooth and the paint goes on beautifully, whereas these ancient old pieces of metal may be a bit more battered than...
Okay. The main reason that lost in history of why we're actually painting our masts is that the anodizing on the main mast had worn off. So it was pretty much lost its silver anodizing, and for some bizarre reason the mizzen mast was anodized as gold.
Yeah, they look very...
So it looked very peculiar.
Yeah, mismatched. So once we've painted them, at least they all match each other.
They're all going to be a Mediterranean
white. Yes.
Very, very attractive. It's very quiet now on Friday evening. Hard to believe that last night we had a storm come through. Nick over there measured 60 miles per hour gusts, 47 miles an hour in the lulls, and we ended up getting some water in. We've got what had been a temporary cover under here. I've now upgraded it to a temporary FR4 just epoxied on. That's where the main sheet attachment point used to be, and water was coming in there. When the wind was coming from behind, it was running down the back of the wheelhouse cover and bringing quite a lot of water in there. So we've got a semi-temporary waterproof fix there. It has been still raining a bit today, so I'll leave the cover on, and let's go down and show you some of the other things that have been happening this week. Our key focus has been to get towards being able to put the mizzen mast up, and after loads of hours trying to do it, under there you can see there's a bulge. That's where the repair to the top of the mizzen mast is, and that's now had, in total it's had 4 coats of primer, 2 coats of undercoat and 3 coats of top coat, and I have to say it's looking pretty good.